Hey guys, welcome to Christina Cakes It. I'm Christina and today I'm making a My Little Pony cake. So this cake is really exciting because this is actually an Icing Smiles cake request. And if you guys remember, I did make an Icing Smiles cake in the fall and made a Rapunzel cake for a little girl. If you're also a baker and are interested in Icing Smiles, it's an amazing organization. It pairs bakers to volunteer to make cakes for kids with a critical illness, and they are nationwide. And this little girl is gonna be turning 4, and she wanted a My Little Pony cake with funfetti inside. So you guys can see I have a huge 4-layer 10-inch cake here, and you guys can see that I also have it frosted and smooth and ready to decorate. So let's get started. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a fondant rainbow dash to put on my cake. So to make rainbow dash, what I did is I made a template of the outline of the body on parchment paper, which I'm going to cut out with my homemade marshmallow fondant. Now is I'm going to use my fondant dowel tool just to make some indentations here. So you can see that I didn't include the hair or the tail, and I'm actually going to cut those pieces out and use white fondant as a base before I put my rainbow colors on. Now is I'm going to add the rainbow hair onto Rainbow Dash. Now that I have added all the colors to my rainbow dash, I'm going to go ahead and work on the eye. do next is I do want to get my rainbow dash onto the cake because I don't want it to harden, otherwise it won't like stick on the curve. So I'm just using my dab and hold, which also can stick fondant to crusted buttercream, which this is. So now that I have my rainbow dash on my cake, and you guys can also see I did add a couple clouds behind rainbow dash off camera, I am ready to add all the finishing details. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add like a rim of clouds around the bottom, and then I also cut out a bunch of fondant stars ahead of time, and I'm gonna place these all over the cake. The little girl wants a rainbow all over, and so I'm gonna give her a lot of color. So I actually cut down my clouds a little bit because they were a little bit tall for me. So I actually did make a ton of these ahead of time off camera just to save time. So now I'm gonna apply them all over the bottom of my cake. So I'm just applying some dab and hold to the back of the clouds. And my cake is crusted, so it's firm to the touch, and this will allow the fondant to stick with it with a little bit of dab and hold. So I've applied my clouds, and the next thing I want to do is I want to apply my fondant stars. And I did create these using this little fondant star cutter, which I will also be sure to put into the show notes. So one thing I think this cake needs is a little bit of edible glitter. So I am using disco dust, which I will put into the show notes. I use this on my swan cake on the feathers, and it shows up really well. It's super sparkly and pretty. So I'm gonna add this to the clouds. Maybe the stars too, I haven't decided. So the final touch to this cake is this fondant rainbow topper that I did make ahead of time. And I did make most of this off camera because I needed it to dry to harden. So I did make this a couple days ago. Alright, so Stephanie's My Little Pony cake is complete, and I do hope that you guys also check out Icing Smiles if you're interested, and I do hope that you also enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel.